It's only for me. Like, I need to come out for me. That's it. If it weren't for the support from all my friends during that time, I don't know how I would have handled the negativity and the criticism that I got from my family. But I went up to my dad and I said, "Dad, I need to tell you something." Hey everyone. So for this week's video, I wanted to do something that's a little bit more vulnerable, a little more just sit down, have a conversation, and I just kind of wanted to talk about something that's really important to me and something that matters a lot to me. And so this week we're going to be talking about my coming out story. Now, I originally wanted to do this video with my family members because coming out wasn't just something that impacted me individually, but something that impacted everyone around me, including my family, my friends. And so I wanted to film this video with my family to kind of show how I came out to them, talk about how it impacted our family dynamic and things like that as well. And I really wanted to film it with my family so that way we could show how to have conversations. I wanted to show people how people in the LGBT community could possibly talk to their family about it. And I understand every family is different, every family dynamic is completely different, and that's completely totally fine. But I just wanted to show everyone how it worked for me and my family and how we got to the point that we're at today in terms of my sexuality. However, because my family is so conservative and religious, they declined to film this video with me. And of course I could have filmed this video with my younger brothers. I feel like the conversation with my younger brothers wouldn't be as helpful as I feel like it could have been if it was like the whole family dynamic. So I'm going to go ahead and film this video just talking about my story because I feel like there's power in being able to tell your story. And I want to tell this story in hopes that it can help other people in the community or help other people who are coming to terms with their sexual identity. And so to get things started, I want to talk about how first I understand that I didn't have the worst coming out story, but I also didn't have the best coming out story either. But going back to when I first started to realize I was gay, I was a kid, I'm sure just like everyone else was. I was a kid, I would always hang around with my friends. I had mostly girlfriends for the most part when I was a kid. And my guy friends that I did have, they would always talk about, even when we were kids, they would always talk about how attractive the girls were, how cute or how pretty they were. And I was just like, yeah, sure, I guess they're pretty, but I never felt that way about them. It just didn't make much sense to me. And so, time went on and I didn't think anything of it. I didn't know there was anything different about me, honestly. And so time went on, and one time in 5th grade, I was riding the school bus and this kid was picking on me, making fun of me, and he goes,
"Jordan, you're so gay."
And I remember I was like, what does that mean? So I went home and I asked my mom, I was like, "Mom, what does gay mean?" And she was like, "Gay is when a guy likes a guy or a girl likes another girl." And I was just kind of like, oh, that's strange. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that existed. And that was that. I didn't think anything else of it. And keep in mind, my family was and still is very religious. They're very dedicated Christians. They live by the Bible, which is totally fine for them. But that comes into play more so in this story. So life goes on, and I think it was around middle school when I started to realize, I think it was around 7th grade when I started to realize, okay, maybe I am gay. But I was also really religious as a kid because my family was really religious. And so I remember thinking, I remember having this internal battle in myself where I was always like, wait a second, I might be attracted to guys, but I also remember thinking there's no way that I can actually be attracted to guys. I remember telling myself
oh, it's just a phase.
You're not attracted to guys, it'll pass, you're meant to have a wife and kids and that's the way it's gonna be. I was like, and even if I do stay attracted to guys, I told myself, I was like, I can fake it. There's no way that I won't be able to just fake it. And so I kept having that internal battle with myself. So I just kept thinking, I'll fake it. And I remember being in my bathroom, I had gotten out of the shower, and I remember looking at myself in the mirror And I remember mouthing the words, "I'm gay." But I remember, and like it still gets me to this day to think about how it's still the same life, because I remember looking at myself in the mirror, mouthing the words, "I'm gay," and getting completely terrified, because I never thought that there would be a time where I would be able to say that out loud and not be scared of like anything, be scared of how people are going to react, be scared of how people are going to accept me for who I am. I never thought ever that there would be a time where I could walk up to someone and say, "Hey, my name's Jordan, like I'm gay." Like I never thought it would be as easy as that. And so it's so weird sometimes to think about where I am now and everything that I've done now in my life compared to when I was a kid looking at myself in the mirror, mouthing the words, "I'm gay," thinking that it would never happen, thinking that I would never be able to tell the world, thinking that I would never even be able to really come to terms with it myself. But here we are. And so I remember I came to terms with being gay myself when I was in it was like 8th or 9th grade. So I was like 13, maybe 14 when I was like, okay, I'm definitely gay. And I was just like, I don't know what to do at this point. I don't know how to do it, because my family is really religious. And so I was taught my whole childhood being gay is wrong. There's no such thing as being gay. If you are gay, it's just a choice. It's just a phase. And while we're talking about that, I want to make it very clear. If being gay was a choice, if being queer was a choice, if being in the LGBTQ community was a choice, why would any of us choose the more difficult lifestyle? Why would we choose to be persecuted? Why would we choose to be told that we can't have equal rights? Why would we choose to have to wake up every single morning and fear holding hands with someone of our significant other? Why would we choose that? But I want to make it very clear that sexuality is not a choice. But moving on from that, I was always told that like being gay is wrong. But I remember one of my friends' moms, I was always at her house all the time when I was a kid, and we were always hanging out. And I remember one day, it was either middle school or high school, I remember she was the very first person in my life to say, you know, I just believe this crazy thing that everyone should have equal rights, regardless of whether or not you're gay or straight or whatever it is. And I remember sitting there thinking like, wow, she's absolutely correct. And I remember that was the first person in my life to let me know that there's nothing wrong with being gay. Because up until that point, I kind of knew I was gay, but I didn't know how to come to terms with it. I didn't know how to express that to other people. And so that was the first in my life when I was like, you're absolutely right. There's nothing wrong with being gay. And so then life went on, and I started to realize that maybe I wasn't as religious as I thought I was, and I thought more about how I identified with Christianity. And I started to come to terms with the fact that I needed to come out, and the fact that I also wasn't religious anymore. And so when I was 16, I had told a couple friends by this point, I had like mentioned like, hey, the way I said it is I had mentioned like, hey, I could see myself marrying a guy or a girl. Like I could see myself with a guy. And so I eased into it because I thought it needed to be an easier process for everyone else, but didn't really take into consideration my emotions or how I needed to handle it. But I would ease into it and I would say, hey, I could see myself ending up with a guy or a girl. And all my friends were really supportive of it. Like I had and I still have the greatest friends ever, the most supportive friends ever when it comes to me being gay. But I remember the first family member I told was my younger brother, Matthew, because me and Matthew, when we were kids, we fought all the time. Like we were always butting heads. We're 16 months apart. So of course we were always in competition with each other. We were always fighting over something. But as we got older, that like hatred turned more into like friendship. And so me and Matthew became really close brothers, of course, but we also became like really good friends also. And so Matthew was just kind of like that person from my family that I could always talk to about things without feeling like I was being judged or anything like that. And Matthew is a fairly open-minded person as well, so he was like kind of my anchor within my family at that time. And so I remember we were on vacation, and I remember we were sitting there and I told Matthew, I said I could see myself marrying a guy or a girl at some point in my life. And he just kind of looked at me and was like, really? And I was like, yeah. And he was just kind of like, that's cool. And that was it. And I was like, that didn't go so bad. And so I was just going through this in my mind where I was like, okay, I need to come out. Like I need to, for me at this point, it's not for anyone else. It's not to set the record straight. It's only for me. Like I need to come out for me That's it. So I remember I was 16 years old, and I had told a couple of my friends already, like I said, and then I was like, okay, I just need to make a public post to let everyone know in one take, like, so that way I don't have to sit here and go through like building up the courage to tell this person, and then a couple days later having to build up the courage to tell this person. Like, I was like, I just need to make a public post to let people know that I'm gay. And so what I did is, when I was 16 years old, I talked to my family first. I was living with my dad at the time, and I remember I told all my brothers first, and then my mom, she said, you know, I'll always love you as my son, but I can't agree with that lifestyle. It's not the way that God wanted life to be, which sucks, because when you're 16 and you're that impressionable, you're basically being told to your face that you aren't as valid as a human being, or you aren't as equal as a human being. And that really sucks. I mean, it would suck to be told that now, but it sucks so much to be told that when I was 16, and it really started to knock my confidence and make me feel like I just wasn't like worthy enough or valid enough. And then I remember I made the post on Facebook. I made a public post on Facebook. If I can find it, I'll probably throw it up right here, where I basically came out as pansexual, meaning that I came out as pansexual basically just as a way to kind of meet everyone in the middle, which, looking back at it, was a terrible idea, because coming out it was for me. It wasn't for anybody else. It was for me, and I needed to do that for me. So coming out as a sexual identity that I was not was harmful to both me and to people who are pansexual. But I did come out as pansexual, and within minutes, my phone was just blowing up with support from all my friends on my Facebook list, from family members on other sides of the country, like tons and tons and tons of support. That made me sit there and think, okay, maybe this isn't so bad after all. But I remember the worst part of it all was, I was living with my dad at the time, and I went up to my dad after I made the post, because my family had reacted not so great. They reacted pretty negatively, but my friends were reacting so positively. Like, I did not have a single friend that was negative, that was judgmental. Every single friend I had was super supportive of me, and I'm still really grateful for that to this day. But I went up to my dad and I said, Dad, I need to tell you something. And I told him that I was pansexual at that time, and we got into the biggest fight ever about it. Like, we were fighting. He was like, how could you not tell me? Like, you know that's not the way God wants life to be. And we got into like this huge fight that just completely wrecked any sort of confidence I had built around my sexuality. And it was just, it like started to go into a downward spiral. But within like 24 hours of that argument with my dad, I checked Facebook again the next day, and I had gotten so much support from everyone that it kind of like counteracted the negativity from my family. And so I still say to this day, if it weren't for the support from all my friends during that time, I don't know how I would have handled the negativity and the criticism that I got from my family, which really sucks, because your family is supposed to be the people who are there for you, who love you unconditionally, who are always like your ride or die. And my family was not that for me during that time. There's nothing more terrible than looking at your mom and looking at your dad and telling them something that you have taken years to muster up the strength to tell them. And for them to look at you and say, well, that's not the way God wants life to be. It's really breaking. Like, it really takes a toll on a human being, like on their confidence, on their mental health. But because of my friends, I was able to get through that time, and I was able to build my confidence. And then I started to realize, okay, I am gay. Like, I need to come out as gay. Like, I can't say that I'm something, like, I can't say I'm something that I'm not, because I am gay. And then my senior year of high school, I had my first boyfriend, and that is really what solidified my sexuality, and that's what made me feel valid as a human being. I'm not saying that's what anyone needs to feel valid, but that's what made me feel like, okay, I came out, I'm here, I have a boyfriend, things are going great. So, long story short, I just wanted to basically share my coming out story, to just kind of put my story out there in hopes that it can help someone else. But I want to make it very clear that you can have those conversations with your family regardless of whether or not they're difficult or not. And some families are really supportive, and that's great, but you can still have those conversations with your family, and you should have those conversations with your family without any fears. Yes, some families react really negatively and they kick their kids out, and that is absolutely awful. But at the end of the day, you have to do what is best for you, and you cannot sit here and live a lie of who you are if it's damaging to your mental health. If you're going through something like coming out and your family's not reacting well, or if your friends aren't reacting well, my DMs are always open. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. I would be more than happy to connect you with resources that could help you through those times. If they're kicking you out, if they're not giving you what you need to flourish, let me know. My DMs are always open. But basically where I'm at today with my family is it's just more of like a subject we don't talk about anymore. Even though I'm very proud of my sexuality to this day, I would not let anyone take away the strength that I feel as a gay man. But I am a gay man, and I'm very proud of the fact that I am a gay man, and I'm very proud of the fact of everything that I've accomplished as a gay man. And to this day, I exist in spaces as a gay man, and I will never let a straight person speak over me. I'll never let a straight person talk down to me. Use your sexuality for you. Don't let anyone take that away from you. Don't let anyone make you feel less than because of who you are or who you love. I am very proud to be the gay man that I am today, and I can't wait until you are at that point where you can say the same thing, or if you're building up to the point, just know that you have at least one person on your team for you as well. But all in all, I'm at a great point in my life where I feel great. I feel amazing. I feel like I'm in such a healthy mental state. I'm proud of the fact that I am a gay man. I'm proud of my sexuality. I'm just proud. I don't know how else to put it. But that's more of my coming out story. If you want to know any more about my coming out story, you can always message me on any of my social media. Or if you want to hear more detail of a story, or if you want to hear about updates, let me know in this video or let me know in my DMs. I'd be more than happy to make another video about it, because I feel like there is strength in talking about our successes as part of the LGBT community. Anyways, thank you guys so much for all the support on my YouTube channel. Thank you guys for watching my videos, and thank you for supporting me as a gay creator. It means the world to me. I love every single one of you so much. Thank you guys so much for the support. But yeah, I will see you guys for next week's video. Peace out, guys and gals.